Because the false expectation that created from that awareness do more harm than in fact raising the issue by itself, as I'm proven by my first speaker. I'm going to extend the case of the government team by explaining another context in the terms of false expectation that's related to the treatment of this mentally disabled ill. But firstly, several responses to their case. Firstly, they talk about how that this happy ending or this traumatization encourages people to react or to accept these mentally ill people. Ladies and gentlemen, we can see that this awareness created awareness between the people. But what is the expectation of accepting this illness? Because the romanticization of this movie created the burden not on the society but on the mentally ill themselves. Because they somehow, through sheer will, have to overcome their mental illness in order to react normally in the society. This is a false expectation and a burden that should not be theirs in the first place. It is supposed to be the expectation of the society to try to help them to cope with the situation. And in fact, they even furthermore the misnomer or the expectation of curing itself. Because let's face it, mentally ill most of the time is not cured at all. It is something that you have for the rest of your life. You have to control it, you have to regulate it, and only some or even very rare people who are able to be cured, fully cured from that. But for most cases, they have to handle it for the rest of their life. They have to cope, they have to take drugs, they have to take drugs, and they still have massive episodic moment with their family or with the society. What happened is that this organization expected happy ending until the end of their life. Because after happy ending, society will never expect that they should have any episode, that they should not any harm from their mentally illness people. And this is a false way on how to treat or react or even accept mentally ill people in the first place. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us talk about how these mentally ill people deserve a happy ending, and that it drives them to achieve what is achieved in the movie. The problem is, ladies and gentlemen, the process of achieving those happy endings is unrealistic. Because artists are not medical professionals. Artists do not know the process. Hang on a moment. Artists do not know the process or even the struggle mental illness people have to overcome that problem. Why it is wrong for mentally illness victims to take inspiration from artists who do not know nothing about medical programs or even anything. Yes?
So if it is based on a medical facts and somehow it's medically correct, would you still going to regret this particular high romanticization?
If that is based on medical fact, there's no longer romanticization. Why? Because when in reality, mental illness is such a boring affair. Because if you want to be likely, you all take drugs every day or every morning and afternoon, and you do the same stuff with everyone else like in the real life. There's no drama, there's no drama, and there's no material for romanticization. That's what we oppose, ladies and gentlemen. Then secondly, why do we think that is very harmful? Because ladies and gentlemen, why do we think this is harmful compared to romanticization of soldiers, and the others? Because we think mentally illness victim is the most vulnerable, or the vulnerable because of that. Because like Ian already explained, for their life, they have been excluded from society, and for them, ladies and gentlemen, this book is the only source of reading that they find inspiring, which is a false inspiration based on unrealistic expectation. And furthermore, ladies and gentlemen, false expectation. And furthermore, even to the nature of mental illness, they are not capable of discerning whether or not they can do it. Because this movie only demands them to overcome their illness by themselves, and that is wrong.
Before you go on.
No, thank you. Now let's come to my argument.
You read that it's romanticization doesn't mean that you have to be cured of that illness. It also means that it's for them not to be cured, but it's still a beautiful and also still humane to become people who are schizophrenic even if you're not cured. That's also a definition of romanticization of art.
That is not the case, because in romanticization, you get a happy ending. And the happy ending implies that even though you are not cured, that the people will always be there, that they're going to be okay for the rest of their life. But that's the problem. Cure of mental illness cannot be cured specifically on the short time that the movie portrays, or even in the just magically with the sheer real. There will be time of episodic nightmare, there is time of when bipolar disorder can come outburst in the near future, even after a happy ending. This is the false expectation that people say that after they overcome themselves, they're going to stay that way at the end of their life. They're going to no longer be burdened by their mental illness. This is a false expectation in the first place. Now let's come to another context on what kind of false expectation that romanticization brings. Let's examine how many movies that make mental illness institute a bad thing. How many movies, like ladies and gentlemen, for example, A Beautiful Mind, who treat mental illness as a way to express their artistic desire, for example, like singing, making formula algorithm, or even playing music. In A Beautiful Mind, that is the case, in which the main character are an artist, or are actually a physicist who make mathematician math who are going to change the world. Now the problem is, when he takes drugs, it's treated as a bad thing. Why? Because they say that the drug warp his perception and this destroy his ability to do his work of art. This is dangerous. And then somehow, after that, he will refuse to take the drug, and then he will, through sheer will, ignore the hallucination, ignore his mental illness, and be cured and happy ending, and keep on doing this art. This is a false expectation, because drugs in mental illness people do a very vital task. They control the symptom. In schizophrenia, it controls the hallucination. In bipolar, it prevents outbursts in public. Those that when happen in public could be fatal. For example, hallucinating an empty street when there's a lot of cars passing through, or having an outburst and pick up a fight for no reason and give up for several people and beat them to death by it. This is a very fatal mistake, and yet artists keep on doing this. Why? Because they have no medical experience. And why? Because the nature of a normal regulated drugs treatment for this mental illness is boring and cannot be romanticized. For ladies and gentlemen, we say that the false expectation has already created several harms towards the layer, and I'll probably add another layer to that. For all those reasons, we beg you to propose.